ntchito yawo ya usilikali ngati olamula asilikali. Popitilira ndi mwambo wathu olemekezeka a president athu amayi ndi abambo, posachedwapa ndikuperekani m'manja mwa yemwe akulamula pereteyu Lieutenant Colonel Chance Chembezi, yemwe agube ndi kubwera patsogolo apa kudzapempha inu a president kuti pereteyu agube pozungulira m'bwalomu poyamba poponya miyendo yawo pang'ono-pang'ono, zija mu Chingerezi timati slow time, ndipo kenaka poponya miyendo yawo mofulumira, zija mu Chingerezi timati quick time. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to hand you over to the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Chance Chembezi, to proceed with the parade program. Parade commander.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today we're diving straight into one of the most patriotic, polished, and downright powerhouse events in Malawi's national calendar, the Malawi Defence Force Cadet Officers Commissioning Ceremony, held on November 28, 2025. This isn't your typical caps in the air kind of graduation. Nah, this is where discipline meets destiny, where years of sweat and sacrifice finally materialize into a single game-changing moment. And trust me, the energy off the charts. So grab your snacks, adjust your volume, and let's jump into the 10 biggest facts about this massive military milestone, told in a bold, clever, sharp American news style with just enough slang to keep things fresh. The very first thing you need to know, and trust me, it's a big one, is that a grand total of 122 cadets officially crossed that finish line and stepped into the world as newly commissioned officers of the Malawi Defence Force. That's right, 122 individuals who didn't just show up for class, didn't just pass a written test, but went through some of the toughest physical, mental, and leadership challenges the military can throw at a human being. These cadets marched onto that parade ground not as hopeful trainees, but as fully transformed guardians of national security. And if you've ever seen a commissioning ceremony, you know the vibe. Suits crisp, uniforms polished, boots shining like they were buffed by angels, and that sharp discipline radiating from every formation. What makes this particular group exceptional is the sheer size and diversity. The 122 represent a blend of ambition, dedication, and national pride. They didn't just complete training, they conquered it. And now they're stepping into roles that demand everything from tactical intelligence to emotional maturity. This fact alone sets the tone for how seriously the MDF takes its future leadership. And if you think the number of cadets is impressive, wait till you see how international this entire ceremony really was. Now here's something you don't see every day. Among the 122 officers stepping into their new boots, 10 came from allied nations, meaning this wasn't just a Malawi moment, it was a regional moment. Military cooperation is like the ultimate trust fall. Countries don't just throw their cadets into another nation's training program unless they believe in the discipline, values, and excellence that institution represents. And the Malawi Armed Forces College, oh, it's got credibility for days. These allied cadets came from friendly nations who partner with Malawi for joint peacekeeping missions, regional operations, and long-term defense collaboration. Training foreign cadets boosts regional unity, but it also says a lot about Malawi's growing reputation as a serious player in African military professionalism. This group learned side by side, struggled together, sweated the same drills, mastered the same survival skills, and earned their place shoulder to shoulder. This isn't just symbolic. It means future peacekeeping missions across Africa will be led by officers who already know each other, trust each other, and understand each other's military culture. That's priceless. But don't get too comfy, because before they earned those commissions, these cadets had to survive one of the toughest training experiences in the region. Let's keep it real for a second. Military training isn't a walk in the park. It's not yoga class. It's not click next to continue. This is grueling, bone-hard, mind-bending work. And these cadets went through all of it. The Malawi Armed Forces College has a reputation for pushing trainees to their absolute limits and then pushing a little further for good measure. The training includes physical conditioning, weapons handling, military ethics, tactical planning, field navigation, leadership development, and even emotional and psychological endurance. The cadets had to learn discipline before sunrise, teamwork before breakfast, and responsibility before lunch. They marched, drilled, strategized, executed field operations, and learned how to lead under pressure. Because if you can't lead during training, you sure can't lead on a battlefield. And let's be honest, the MDF isn't grooming influencers, they're grooming leaders. What makes this tough training so important is how it prepares officers for real-world scenarios. Peacekeeping missions, border operations, humanitarian support, these new officers have to be sharp, level-headed, and mission-focused. But tough training is only one piece of the puzzle, because the ceremony itself wasn't just drills and salutes. It had deep cultural roots.
One thing that made this commissioning ceremony unforgettable was the deep cultural and historical significance woven into every moment. Military parades in Malawi aren't just for show. They carried decades of heritage, discipline, and unity. The famous MDF parade formation, the rhythmic commands, the synchronized marching, the powerful salute to the commander-in-chief, every detail symbolizes loyalty, order, and national pride. And then there's the iconic Malawi Defence Force brass band, dressed in striking red tunics. When that band starts playing, you feel it in your chest. Their sound fills the parade grounds with that unmistakable sense of ceremony, a mix of honor, emotion, and dang, this is legendary. The cadets' uniforms also tell a story. The gabardine fabric, the parachute battalion troops in red tunics and maroon berets, it all adds up to a ceremony that respects tradition while ushering in the future. Each movement, each formation, each salute serves one purpose: demonstrating precision, discipline, and respect for the uniform. But tradition alone doesn't make an officer, character does. And that's exactly what the Oath of Allegiance highlighted. Here's where things hit differently. The Oath of Allegiance isn't just a script recited on command. It's a moment where every cadet, now stepping into a lifetime of service, publicly commits to defending the Constitution, obeying the laws, and serving the nation without fear, favor, or compromise. When the legal officer stepped forward and began the oath, silence fell across the entire parade ground. You could feel the weight of the moment. The oath includes promises of discipline, loyalty, duty, integrity, and courage. It's the kind of promise that demands sacrifice. And once a cadet becomes an official officer, they no longer carry rifles during parade, symbolizing their transition from trainee to leader. This solemn commitment sets the standard. An officer's power must always be matched by responsibility. And this lineup of newly commissioned officers made that promise not casually, not half-heartedly, but with full awareness that the nation is placing its trust in them. But if the oath was powerful, what followed it took the emotion to a whole different level. Right after the oath, the Malawi Defence Force chaplain, Canon Richard Maida, stepped up to deliver a prayer that hit with emotional weight. This wasn't just a ceremonial accessory, it was a heartfelt call for divine protection, wisdom, courage, and moral clarity for the new officers. The chaplain prayed for strength, for peace, for righteousness, and for resilience in the face of challenges. The prayer recognized that these cadets are stepping into a life that demands not just physical strength, but moral grounding. Service can be dangerous, demanding, and unpredictable. And the prayer served as a moment of grounding, reminding officers that humility is just as important as authority. Families in the crowd felt comforted. Officers felt supported. Commanders felt reassured. It was one of those moments when even the toughest people stood still and reflected. But it wasn't long before the energy shifted again, because up next came one of the most anticipated parts of the ceremony. If there was ever a mic drop moment at a military event, this was it. His Excellency, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, President of the Republic of Malawi and Commander-in-Chief of the MDF, officially declared the cadets commissioned. This is the ultimate stamp of authority, the highest-ranking figure in the country, saying, "You are now officers of this nation." When he made the declaration, the parade came to attention, the band stood poised, and every officer straightened with pride. The president invoked the powers granted under the Constitution to elevate these cadets into their new roles. He emphasized professionalism, integrity, discipline, and loyalty. He reminded the officers that Malawi's peace is priceless, and they now share responsibility in protecting it. And yes, he made it very clear, the military must remain apolitical, no exceptions. But the president wasn't the only big name making waves. The Minister of Defense also had a message. The Minister of Defense stepped forward to praise the new officers and highlight the importance of their service in a changing world. Malawi isn't isolated. It's part of a global village dealing with evolving threats and rising instability in certain regions. And that means the MDF must stay sharp. He praised the cadets for surviving tough training and congratulated trainers, instructors, and staff for maintaining high standards. He noted that Malawi's participation in international peacekeeping missions demands officers who can handle complex, multicultural environments. These newly commissioned officers are now part of that global responsibility. He also emphasized perseverance, teamwork, leadership, and the spirit of sacrifice, calling the cadets the best of the best. And then came one of the most exciting moments, the award announcements. Every commissioning class has standouts, and 2025 was no different. The ceremony honored cadets who demonstrated exceptional performance. The overall best officer cadet, Second Lieutenant Precious Kampala, was recognized for his outstanding leadership and academic excellence. His background in electronics and his impressive discipline made him a clear standout. Another recognized cadet was Second Lieutenant Dunganem Sowoya, who excelled in tactical performance and leadership. And representing international excellence, Second Lieutenant Bowers Magambo Mkama from Tanzania was honored as the top foreign cadet. Also recognized was Second Lieutenant Precious Nkintana, named the overall best female cadet, known for her strength, focus, and medical expertise as a graduate of the College of Medicine. These awards don't just flatter cadets, they boost confidence and motivate others. But the ceremony wasn't done yet. The final moment brought everything full circle. To close out the ceremony, the newly commissioned officers formed up in their first official lineup as full members of the Malawi Defence Force. This wasn't just symbolic, it was historic. Their first salute, first step into leadership, first moment standing not as trainees but as the future of Malawi's national security. Commanders joined them for official photographs, families celebrated, and the brass band closed out with patriotic anthems that filled the air. The officers then prepared to report to their units, including battalions such as the 11th, 2nd, and Special Operations Divisions. It marked the beginning of a new chapter for them, and a new chapter for Malawi's security forces. If you're proud of these young officers stepping into service, smash that like button, drop a comment showing love to Malawi, and subscribe to Global Pulse News for sharp global stories delivered with style, accuracy, and a whole lot of energy.